Thoughtless Casual Gaming with Brett and Jace. We are a Geelong-based gaming podcast where we play games badly and then talk badly about them.
That was
badly.
that was enthusiastic.
Oh, I know, right?
That was, gusto and energy and...
Look.
Who are you and what have you done with Brett?
Well, it's been, 87 years since our last podcast. So I thought I'd inject a little bit of enthusiasm in.
I love this.
Yeah,
I don't know what to do with it now. I'm not sure what my role is anymore.
You're still the comedy, the wit, the entertainment. I am the talking.
Well, I will not do that bit, and you don't do the other, and then we'll be fine. Okay. Stay in your lane.
All right. I need some sort of monotone. And then we did this, and yes, it was good. I like the dice. That sort of voice. I'll try and keep to that. Anyway, stay in my lane. That's what you're telling me. So it does feel like it's been like a year since our last podcast. So wherever you are, grab yourself a nice, cozy chair, sit yourself down, get yourself a cool, refreshing glass of Darkwater, and let's talk games. Or game. We're talking Darkwater. You can talk. You're allowed to talk.
Am I allowed to talk now?
Yeah, you may talk. It's going to be very, very dull if it's just me. It's that robot chicken Emperor Palpatine conversation where he gets phoned up, collect call from Darth Vader. And it's not like that because that was entertaining watching a one-sided conversation. This will not be.
I love this, but yeah, you're right. The waters are dark and full of terrors.
They are. And when did this game come out? We're talking Warhammer Quest, Darkwater.
We are. Not that long ago.
No, end of last year, towards the end of last year. This is a different sort of game, and yet strangely familiar.
I mean, I know it, but I didn't know it, but I do know it, but I didn't. And yes. It's new. And I'm okay with that.
Yes. So it's a big box, and it's got a lot of stuff in the big box.
There is so much shit in that box.
And it's got a lot of dollars attached to that box, but there is a lot in there.
There is a lot of dollars, but I would probably say, as much as I don't want to pay the dollars attached to the box, it's probably reasonable given how much stuff is in it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to play this with anyone apart from the people we've been playing this with, I'd be half tempted to buy it myself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would be half tempted to buy it just because the shit in there is pretty.
Yes. Because what we're talking a lot of models. You've got, I think it's 7 hero models, 4 of which you start off as, and then there's another 3, I believe, that you can become later on down the track. But then there's a lot of bad guys.
There is huge amount of bad guys, and they are so pretty.
They're all Nurgle.
Yeah. So there are 37 enemies, plus, some little 3D tokens and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they are all Nurgle, and GW have kind of nailed Nurgle now.
I think they have. They really know what they're doing now with Nurgle. Whereas
a little bit off the rails with the Blood Bowl team, and then straight back in.
And this it's not just Nurgle, it's a collection of Nurgle. So there's a bit of everything. You've got your Pestigore, you've got your champion, with the bloated arm and the big axe.
Yeah. You've got some swampy looking fen beast monster things. You've got little rotary guys. You've got the little Maya kelpies, little swamp dogs. And then
you've got the witch.
Couple of really cool heroes.
Oh, yes. The witch, stirring her cauldron with the big sort of grub thing at the bottom of the base. And then The big guy.
What's his face? The fly winged, bloody mace holding. He's huge too.
Yes. Gelgus Pust.
That's him.
He is sort of half, your typical Nurgle demon. He's half typical Chaos Warrior, but like the armor is almost peeling off him to make room for his fatness. Yep. And he's got a little unclean one head with big horns.
It's very nice. Like, there are so many things here that would just be amazing to paint.
Yes. And a lot of fun. Just a lot of fun. I've always found that painting Nurgle to be, you can't go wrong.
Hard agree.
Because if you paint it and it looks crap, I mean, that's what it's supposed to look like.
It is good fun.
Yeah, if you paint it and it looks good, that's what it's supposed to look like too.
Yes. So there's a lot of stuff. The other thing that I really like in this box, that the design choice that they've made, is how they're doing the boards.
Yes.
So like Warhammer Quest, there's a variety of different boards or maps that you could play on, and these come in like a big book, and you turn the page like a giant book. And
it's a tome.
You turn, and each double page is one of the boards, and it's got all the artwork on it, and it's got all the hexes marked out, and it's very pretty. And it just feels clever. It's not more loose bits of cardboard lying around and all that kind of fun. It keeps everything nice and neat and contained. But it's, I was a huge fan of that as a choice. It's nice to have.
I mean, it's basically the equivalent of having, 20 Underworld boards all together in a nice, neat little package. All you need, the only thing it doesn't come with that it needs, is that little chime when it's time to turn the page.
And some way to store all the shit that comes in it eventually.
Oh, yes. I mean, that comes in a box. You just shove it back in the box. It's fine.
Oh, it hurts my soul. There's a lot of stuff to store. That's probably the problem with it. But and then there are cards upon cards and tokens and all of the other stuff that you need to play a game. It feels worth it.
It definitely feels worth it. I mean, the only thing that I have an issue with is the dice are very plain.
They are boring, but it's also not surprising. Like, I feel like most of the main GW box games have pretty dull dice in them.
They do, yeah. Various shades of white or cream or...
And look, ours had all their pips.
Yes.
So, take the wins.
They're pippered. Pippered? Is a pitted olive with the pit or without?
Doesn't that mean you remove it?
Yes. Yeah. But surely pitted means it's almost like you shoved the pit in.
I mean, what you do with them after you take them out of the olive is totally up to you.
You pitted it. I don't know. Anyway. It's been a long day.
What is the opposite of pitting something then?
Unpitting it.
Well, is it because you leave a pit in the olive because there is a hole where the thing was?
Yes.
So you've created a pit?
No. Oh. I don't know. That's a topic for another podcast. Preferably not ours.
Yeah, let's say something vaguely informed.
The general idea is, with this game, there are 3 acts. And the acts are going to be different each time you play them, which is kind of cool. You've got your big boss at the end of each act, which is going to stay the same. But the missions that you play to get to those big bosses are different each time because it's random.
And again, kind of clever. It gives you a little bit of control on it, because the way this plays out is you basically have a deck of cards that have all the missions on it. And then every scene in the act, I'm not sure exactly what the term is, but every game that you're going to play or every scenario you're going to play, you draw 2 of the cards and you pick.
Yes.
which one of those two you want to do. Some of them you flip to a map and you play out the scenario and there's models and dice and stuff, and others a thing happens and you just resolve the thing and you move on to the next one. So you can choose how.
But you don't know what it is, and that's what I like.
Mm-hmm.
You draw two, and they've each got a description on one side, and you read the description, and then you choose.
Correct.
And when you've chosen, you flip it over to find out what it actually is.
So you do, it kind of gives you the impression of, like, if you imagine you are these little characters trying to fight their way through this big old swamp to the Jade Abbey, like, you've only got some information to go on. You've got what you can see and hear and smell, and you're like, which forked out of this road do you want to go down? And then you flip it over and you're like, that was an error.
Yeah,
it's not committed now.
You flip it over and find it's a quest to reorganize your cupboard.
Yeah, and alas, but we're committed now. So
yes.
let's get our Marie Kondo on.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, look, it's got a heap of these little just events. Unique ways of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Like that whole, you have 14 of these missions shuffled into a thing, and you draw two and you pick one of them, and then you flip it over and turn the page to the right page after hearing the chime, or you do the little event thing that happens. And, those 14 cards that you're picking, or whatever it is, we haven't actually gotten into Act 2, spoiler alert. So I don't know if it's 14 for Act 2, or it could be 20, or who knows. But there's more than that number of cards. So there's stuff that you're going to,
not have discovered the second time round. The replay, they actually have done a really good job of making it replayable between changing characters, between the randomness of the scenario generation, and then just what actually happens in game. It's and you can lose. That's the other bit I kind of like about it. Like, there are some stakes on the table, because you can just not succeed and then have to go back and start again.
Yep, which has happened.
Spoiler alert. So that is the concept. And so the idea here is you play through the 3 acts. You go through all the scenarios and events and stuff. Your little characters go on, and then hopefully we, defeat the bad guy and restore the Jade Abbey and purify the water, and everything's good again.
Yes.
That's the dream. Then we get into sort of the mechanics of the game, which is another bit that felt familiar but not. So you open up each one of these boards, and surprise, there's hexes.
Yes.
It does a little bit feel like Underworld's story mode. I'm not angry about that.
Great British Book of Underworlds.
Yeah. And then, it takes turns between each of the players. So cooperative, which is kind of fun as well. So you have up to 4 players playing together to defeat the scenario, and then you alternate between the good guys, you, and the Nurgle, which all have a basic AI mechanic kind of deal to automatically respond to the scenario. Then you've got your action cards effectively. So you've got a move. I'm going to get this wrong, so fix me when I do. An attack and an aid.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I think I nailed that, right?
Excellent. Well done.
And so each one of those cards does 2 things. It lets you do a thing, but it also gives you energy to do something effectively. So when you do an action, you tap one of your cards. So you expend one of those cards. If you've expended your move card, you can't now do a move action.
Yeah.
So you've got to think about which cards you're going to use for which actions and which ones you're going to want. So you can do 3 things, but you need to be careful about which cards you're using for which actions, because if you need to attack and you've already used it, it sucks to be you. Guess what you're not doing?
Yeah. And this has happened to us on multiple occasions already, where, you might go, okay, well, I'm standing here, I've got 3 or 4 guys next to me. I need to bash them into oblivion and then move towards the objective.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, right, okay, first of all, I am going to attack, and I'm going to expend my aid card to attack. And you roll the dice.
And you kill a dude, and it's great.
Kill a dude, and it's great. Or you don't. And you're like, now I need to work out, do I stay here and try and kill as many of these things as I can, or do I run away?
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, okay, well, I think I can take care of what's left in my next attack. So you tap your attack card and you roll those dice, and those dice end up being nothing. And now you're sitting here next to all these guys, and all you can do is move, because that's the last of the cards you've got left.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you could have saved your friend from certain death, or whatever the case may be.
And look, the other bit, I think that's a fun mechanic, because it means that you need to worry about your resource pretty much always. And it's kind of that probability of, what am I likely to do with the dice? And then let's play this out. And then you've got the different characters. So if we go through the 4 that you start with, so there is the little knight with his axe and his shield, the sort of leader beans on the front of the box.
Edmark.
All right. So and it's pretty obvious what shit does when you look at it, right?
Yeah.
He hits stuff pretty good, and then he's got a great big shield, which he tanks damage pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes he hits things back when they punch him, because he's an angry little knight.
Yeah.
Then you've got, who is it? The Bren, is it?
Bren is the saint type character, I believe.
Mm.
Yes.
And again, she's a little bit punchy, a little bit okay punchy, but she basically gets like a lucky reroll. She can choose something to reroll each turn, which is kind of her shtick. So she's just as punchy. She doesn't tank as much damage, but she can kind of hedge her bets.
She can hold her own.
Yeah. You've got Anara, who's the water priestess chick.
The mage equivalent.
Yeah. Fun.
Not quite tanky.
Mm-hmm. Good, though, in that she has a fun little ranged attack and an ability to really control the board. So she can drop her little, like a water spout thing, which stops enemies getting through. So you can start to really control the board with Anara, but she dies to a stiff breeze.
Yeah, and there are so many jokes you can make about her dropping the water.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yes.
Again, it would be fun to paint, maybe a little bit inappropriately. Sorry, I'm gone.
No, that's all right. Yellow water. No.
Oh, okay. You're more polite than I am.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. Then we have Drolf, so the little dwarf. And the difference here is, I think pretty much everybody else has a move characteristic of D6.
Yes. So when you move, each time you expend a card to move, you roll a D6, and that's how many squares you can go. Or if you want to be really certain, you can sprint and tap 2 cards to move 6.
Guaranteed 6. Happy days.
Yeah.
Drolf, however, does not move D6. He moves 3. 3. That is all.
Not 4. Correct.
5 is right out. Yes. However, he has this fun ability, being the little sort of, miney dwarf that he is, to start moving through blocked hexes. So he actually ends up the most mobile. He does pretty good.
He's pretty good with getting places. You'd think that, and still 3 is kind of the average that the others are going to move anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit less than the average, but he can go through mountains or whatever happens to be on the page of the book that you currently are. And okay, so we have We have played 2 sessions of this game where we played both sessions with Moose, and then 1 session with Alice, and when she couldn't quite commit, we have done 1 session with Dan where we started again. We have both played the same characters.
We have too.
Yeah, so I was Bren in the first game and you were Drolf. And then we switched. We rewound that and did it the other way.
And I will say that this is second time round was probably more fitting. It felt more in character.
As far as
you're a sneaky little dwarf that went and grabbed treasure. And
well, true. Yep.
And I ran head first into things.
Yep. I mean, I tried to run head first, I think, when I was Bren. Definitely not when I was a dwarf.
No.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favourite between the two. I can't speak for the other two.
They were actually both really fun. It felt like with Drolf playing as the dwarf, you're like, oh, I moved 3, but actually I can get to all these places that no one else can get to. So it felt like you had these really fun options to unlock the map and to actually hit objectives. Plus he's got a little crossbow. He can do some range damage as well. He can still fight a little bit when things get too close. Like he does a little bit of everything. And
I didn't realize about the crossbow for a while though.
Yeah. Dude can shoot little bolts.
He's got a ranged attack. Who would have thought?
And then, Bran, I really enjoyed the when are you going to use the reroll? How are you going to play that out as a bit of a mechanic? And again, she kind of does a bit of everything without having a crossbow.
Yeah. But, I mean, I think I found with most of them, unless I really needed to get, say, a move somewhere or get an attack in, I was most likely saving that reroll for defense just in case.
Yeah. I mean, wounds do come at a premium because they do carry over between scenarios.
Yep.
And so there is a little bit of a chance to heal, but it's not like you reset at the start of each scenario. So I found very similar. It's like, how can I make her survive as long as possible? Because I'm probably going to keep throwing her into stuff.
Yes. You can basically take about 10 hits before you go down. And then when you go down, you can be picked up by somebody using their aid, for example. Yep. But between each mission, realistically, you finish the mission and successfully you're healing. I think it's D3 from memory. So if you're not already on 10 wounds,
if you get your 3 back, you are still 7 down, and that ain't good.
Yeah, exactly. But
so,
I do like, it's kind of got this hot sort of role-playing-esque.
It's light, but it's enough.
Because you're picking up equipment and treasure and abilities and stuff like that carry through.
So there is that. There is a little bit of if they're with objectives in the game, the first person to do a thing often gets a treasure kind of as an option. But over the course of the game, you get different treasures and you distribute them amongst your little party. And there's some that are sort of a one use only. There are some that you can hold. There are some that you can expend and as part of a game and then get back. So you can kind of develop the characters a little bit with what you give them and those kind of things. And then even with the events, so those ones that don't end up with you playing out a scenario, a lot of them involve a little bit of a negotiation or a side game or just something little. It's like, how are we going to divvy up the treasure or see if we win the thing? So
making a decision as a party.
And it did kind of give you that in a tavern in between quests, RPG kind of light vibe, which I kind of dug.
And for me, the curious thing is going to be because I think both sessions we've done, we've pretty much gotten up to the end boss in the first act. Now, come Act 2, there's another 3 heroes that you can choose from. So the thing that I don't know is that, if, for example, one of us is playing the dwarf and we've got these bits of equipment and stuff, and we decide to play one of the other three characters,
which are also very cool looking.
Yeah.
Let's just...
Do we lose those, or do we just, meet up and go, you know what? I've had enough adventuring. You take over. Here's my axe. Or whatever.
Who are the other ones? You get the little druid with his little animal forest companion sprite friend.
Yep. He's barefoot. But he has it's kind of like
it's like a little foxy sprite, woodland critter.
Mm-hmm. So he has 2 bases, which is unusual to everyone else. There's the shapeshifter, who looks like a hell of a hunk of a man.
He is a hunker burning love. But he is this big sort of werewolfy, werebeary looking dude. Mm-hmm. And then you have the giant centaur archer.
Yes. I was just trying to work out what that was. His base is also decorated with a little statue of a forest nymph carrying a jar of aqua Gyaranis.
Fancy water.
Yeah, but looking at it in the small window that I've got it open, it just looked like a fertility goddess thing.
I mean, also.
Or a little Buddha. Anyway.
They all look cool, and I kind of want to see them all do things.
Yes. I want to see them all in action. Whether I want to be any of them, if it means losing my cool stuff that I've got.
Across that bridge.
Yeah. Is the stuff that I've got actually cool in the first place? That's another question.
Yeah, we don't know because we haven't opened the Act 2 deck of cool shit.
I guarantee the Act 2 deck is going to be a lot better than the Act 1
Act 1 deck. You would hope so.
Yeah.
So, we have played now 2 sessions of this.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts and feelings on how this played out? Highlights, lowlights?
Okay, so I love a lot of this game.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, the models are just so good. I mean, I'm a Nurgle fan anyway, but like all of these models are just, really, even down to the treasure token, they all look really cool. The book I am a huge fan of, because every single double page looks different. You in a swamp, one mission, the next mission you're
temple-y thing, or you're trying to navigate like a river, and it does significantly change the way the board is used.
Yes. Yeah, because all of those hexes are marked with different things. So you've got your starting hexes that all 4 of you started. And this is what I love too, is the fact that the first player who is going first, rotates. And if you're doing a mission, you get to sort of, as player 1, you get to choose whether you're going first, second, third, or fourth.
Yeah.
Throughout the course of this event or scenario, whatever they call them. And so there's a bit of, why don't I go third, and then we'll stick the water chick, watery tart in the lake, fourth, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
so there's and there's definite benefits to being first, and then there's benefits to not being first, and it's really cool how balanced it seems to be. The bad guys don't feel overwhelming.
They haven't yet,
but we are in Act 1. So, but they respawn, so it's never like you're completely out of danger or anything like that.
No.
Overall, I really like it. I really like it. Too much.
I also really like that in a lot of the scenarios, it's like a limited number of turns to succeed. If you take too long, you fail.
Yep.
And so there are a couple of games there where it got real pointy towards the end because we kind of like, oh shit, we have to do this thing. We have to get this from here to there. And we're running out of turns to do that, even if everything works. There was a fun little desperate play
with the key.
With the key. So you had to go and get a key, and then you had to go and unlock a gate. But they were on, and you had to go and open a whole bunch of little like treasure chests across the board to find the key, and then you find the key, and then and of course it was in the last goddamn little chest.
Yeah.
But also in that scenario, it gives you rules for throwing the key.
It's Underworld's Blood Bowl style.
Glorious.
And of course, we had to do that.
And we made that play, and it was fucking glorious.
It was a medium pass, and then a handoff, and then a click, done.
Touchdown.
And I think we did that on the last turn too.
We did too. Like it was literally that we make these rolls and this player comes off, or we lose the scenario. So it was good. It felt like there was, again, there's stakes. It put a little bit of pressure on. You can, given that the bad guys respawn, you can go to town and whack bad guys and get super aggro. But if that ain't the objective, you can get really swamped really quickly and just get stuck whacking bad guys.
When, the whole objective that you've got 4 or 5 rounds to finish is potentially on the other side of the map to where you are. And yet you've got these little guys crowding around you and hampering you, and you make one bad call and on which which order to do your actions, and all of a sudden you're stuck there.
Or the dice don't pay off. Or it's even, there was one scenario there where we had to go and destroy 2 like little statue things, little shrines, which is fine. You walk up to the shrine and you whack the shrine, and eventually the shrine dies. However, if you're standing next to the shrine at the end of a turn, you take damage. And so
these are Nurgle things.
It was not a nice shrine. So it was this really fun bit around, okay, so when are we committing? When are we backing off? How are we trying to minimize the damage we're taking? Oh, I didn't do as much damage as I would have hoped that turn. Am I going to still stand next to it so I can get maximum next one? Oh, the little swamp dogs are attacking me. What am I going to do here? So again, there's just clever little problems to make decisions on. And
it can totally change the outcome of the round or the scenario. I do remember one of those ones we had when we're trying to attack the shrines. When you're standing next to them, you hit them, you do a D3 damage, and they had 12 life, and you had to get down. And I think the second of them was still standing, and we had 2 attacks, and we needed 4, which is the average of 2d3, and the dice got rolled, and there was the total of 3. And then all of a sudden,
now we're sweating. And it's not only that, like that particular scenario gets harder, but I'm taking damage standing next to it, and we're going into the next scenario with less wounds because I potentially haven't healed them up. So again, it does feel like the stakes are a little bit higher again because the effects of what happened last game carry over, which is nice.
Yes, I do like that whole sort of almost sort of Mordheim-y type thing. A little bit of RPG at the end.
Yeah.
I do really like that, and I like the fact that you carry on not only your wounds but all the treasure that you get, and the treasure divvying out is kind of cool because I forget how many cards you draw. It's something like 6 or 8 or something for the 4 of you. But if any of you have picked up treasure during that mission, you've got an extra treasure card that you haven't looked at yet.
So the way this plays out is you start and you pick up all the treasure that the group has collected for winning, and then the first person picks one.
Yes.
And then you hand the deck of treasure cards to the next person. Now, if they've picked up treasure during the course, they can add that to the hand, and then they choose from everything that's there, and they pick one to keep, and then they hand what's remaining over. And so it's this fun little piece around, again, there's still a bit of personal, benefit in this. Like, I want to choose the thing that's good for me, and I want to get that before the next person gets it. Now, sure, I want the party to succeed and kumbaya and all that fun, but actually, I want the cool shit.
Yeah.
So
I'm the person that came up with the whole team idea.
Again, you get a little bit attached to the character, you get a little bit attached to the, what you've got, and you start thinking about how you're going to use it and when you're going to do it and when am I going to burn this healing potion because it's looking grim, but also I might need it more later.
All right. Any other positives that I haven't mentioned?
Only that bullshit things happen and it's great.
Yes. Those bullshit things, I mean, they can be good and or bad.
Absolutely. But when they're good, they're really good.
Are we talking when a certain big bad decided to come along and laugh at us?
I giggled so hard.
That was an interesting one. There was one mission and the end boss, Mr. Pust himself, came along to have a laugh at us.
So he hears a bit of a disturbance, and this is literally the Act 3 and the big bad. And you're in Act 1, you haven't even finished Act 1, and this little dude rocks up and he plants his big ass on the board. And basically, to win, you've got to do a couple of wounds to him. And he goes, no, I'll come back later and finish you guys off.
Yeah. But he could stand there and, you roll dice to see what he does on his turn. He can stand there and laugh at you, or he could bash the crap out of you.
Mm-hmm. And he comes with a whole chunk of wounds. He comes with a pretty good save. And if you're standing next to him, there is a good chance he's hitting you back and you ain't going to like it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we look at this guy. We're all standing in the center of the board and he's down there. And I mean, Leroy Jenkins is a meme for a reason.
Yes, it is. Now, remind me of what happened in this scenario, Jace. Who was going first?
I believe it was me in that one.
I think it might have been
It could have been me. Yeah, just going let's be a little bit smart. Let's play to the objectives. Fortunately, the objective was hit the big thing.
3 times.
3 times? Only 3 times.
Yeah. 3 wounds.
3,
you had to get through his armor, you had to get through his save, all that sort of stuff.
All of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the problem with that is we're going to have to at least do one of our 3 actions to move to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to have to hit him with our last 2. Now, you're rolling 2 dice on attack, all right? But you've got to actually hit him and then you've got to actually not be saved. And he had like a 3+ save.
Yeah.
It was concerning. And so Leroy...
because you're alternating as well, so you going first, Jace, he was going straight after you.
He was going to...
Before any of us could react.
Yeah. And then it was just hoping that you could tank it. With the reroll for the save, you're kind of banking on that. And I didn't know how hard this guy was looking at hitting. I didn't really read the card. So...
Shocker.
Move. We're not going to need that. Let's move up to the guy. And now let's attack him. Twice. Happy days.
Yep.
That's 4 potential chances of hitting. I think she's hitting on a 3, so probably 3 of them are going to hit. And then he's got a 3+ save, so he's probably going to save 2. I'm going to do a damage and at least soften him up for next time. Mm-hmm. Realistically thinking on this, given the knight can do damage on defense, he was probably a better option for first, but that wasn't the point.
We didn't think that hard.
Well, no, because I wanted to hit the thing.
Yeah.
Anywho, we show up. We roll some dice to hit the guy. We critically hit the guy. So suddenly we're converting one of those hits into 2.
Mm-hmm. And I think, from memory, you did 3 hits.
I did exactly 3 hits.
The exact 3 hits that were needed. Of course, he still gets his save.
Yeah, 3+.
Moose takes some dice. He rolls them. Do you remember what he rolled?
I am not sure if there was a 2 in there.
Don't know that there was from memory.
I'm relatively sure that there were 3 1s in that save roll.
3 3+ saves. He rolls 3 1s, and Mr. Pust scampers, and just like that, the scenario's over. And we all just look at each other, go, that was probably not how this was supposed to go, but it's the way it went.
Much rejoicing.
It was glorious because it was just, it's just one of those things that's just going to stick with you.
Also, it was about 10 o'clock and we wanted to go home.
Well, yes. This was, I think, the last mission that we did that night. I love those little random things that can happen, and it's a dice game, but it's not Blood Bowl dice. It's normal dice. I do have a negative.
Oh.
I don't know if you feel the same way that I do. Now, the bad guys will be doing different things depending on what turn it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their own special attack dice. There's a black one and a red one. And I think the red one's nastier than the black one.
Yeah, and then they kind of alternate, or they swap what they're going to doing out of 3 options.
So these dice, they're 6-sided dice, and they've got a different symbol on each side, and each symbol means something else.
Mm-hmm.
And this is my frustration in that I'm sure it'll get there, but every single time we rolled those dice, I was looking at the table going, right, what does that mean?
Yeah, we rolled a dice. What do they do? And I'm not sure that it adds, because realistically, you could probably pull together some kind of flowchart to say, if there's somebody within this, they do this, and if not, they do that.
It's legitimately a D6, so you could still have them numbered 1 to 6. You don't have to have these fancy things, because I mean, the same result symbol on a black die is going to be a less nasty thing than if you'd rolled it on the red die.
Mm-hmm.
But you could totally have them as 1 to 6.
Yeah, as I'm not entirely sure you even need the dice for something that could be just logic driven. I get that it adds a little bit of a random element, but I'm also not sure how random. And
there were a lot of them where it was, okay, you have to move, but he's already standing next to you, so that move's now a hit.
Yeah. And there was a lot of that fallback where it was like, if they're not standing next to someone, they move, but they are standing next to someone, so they hit. So if we just had a set at the start, if they're standing next to someone, they hit them always. It's probably not a bad way to start. We don't need to do a dice for that. If they're not standing next to someone, can they get next to someone? If yes, they do that. If no, they do they
move twice.
The only difference is then between the black and the red dice, and a couple of the symbols, like one of the attacks gives them critical hits, so they can do critical hits, and one of them doesn't.
Yeah.
Again, that could be just an attack roll.
Yeah. On a black die, on a black turn, it's a 4+ to hit, or it's a 3+ on the red. Yeah. Whatever the case may be.
It could be simplified.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get there, but it did feel like every single round we're going, okay, roll a dice. Cool. What does that mean? Bring up the table.
And realistically, we had a lot of the same bad guys for the first couple of rounds, and we were still doing that. And then we're going to get into the next act, and we're going to start adding more of the different bad guys, and they're all going to do different things on a different table. Yeah. No, I totally, it probably is unnecessary. I don't think it necessarily is like it doesn't stop the game being fun, but it is a little bit of, wait, what are they doing? And how does...
It's a delay.
Yeah.
Like when you're sitting there going, okay, well, we've got X amount of hours to play tonight. You know, how much of that time is eaten up by... Is that an
checking
advance,
the table,
or is that a
onslaught, or
whatever else they were called?
And that special one where they just give you the little status, they spit at you. Yeah.
But that was the only issue I had.
Yeah. And I think it makes sense. But I think it was... The other part of it was it felt like the scenarios and the bad guys were relatively balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Like this idea of all the little Maya Kelpies were pretty easy to squish, but they kept coming back and there was a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, it wasn't impossible to do the scenarios, but it wasn't a sure thing every time, which was nice.
I think on the second playthrough that we started, didn't we fail the first mission?
We did.
Yeah.
And then we had to go back and redo.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's like there's enough randomness and everything in there that...
Yeah. Look, it's a co-op board game with a good amount of replayability, very pretty models, a simple enough mechanic to pick up, and a good level of immersion.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Yeah, I mean...
The price tag.
The price tag's not to like, and it'd be kind of cool if we were playing as the bad guys, but anyway, that's just me.
Correct.
Yes. All right. So, overall result, thumbs up, thumbs down?
It's absolutely a thumbs up. I'm keen to play more. The only other negative about the game
is that there's four people and you've got to organise a time.
You've got to coordinate the motherfuckers to get in the same place at the same time for more than one night. We've all been there. Life is a thing.
Yes. Yes. I don't know. I thought life would be easier when I was older and, had more time and more money. But I don't have more time. I don't have more. Yeah, well. Yeah, what happened?
No.
That's not the way life is supposed to work.
Somebody lied to me. There was a lot of stuff that was not in the brochure.
Yeah. Oh, well, at least, my scenery is not empty tissue boxes anymore.
I know, but also there was a joy to that.
There was, true. Yes. So much polystyrene.
Mainly how you empty the tissue boxes, but that's different.
All right. Is it time?
I'm still not sure how I timed that.
I still love it.
So,
what you got for me?
On reflection, we should probably come up with a list of ones that we've done so we don't repeat them.
Yes.
But until then, paint.
I mean, there's a Discord channel. We've got all the polls in there. We could look back on it. It wouldn't take long.
I know, but am I gonna?
No.
Nah. So,
yep,
we're involved in a hobby. That hobby often involves a lot of paint, and there is a divisive question in the paint world.
Yes.
Which lid is better? There is the dropper bottle option, or there is the G-Dub style flip top.
Yep. And this is where it all turns to argument.
Them's fighting words.
Yeah. Let's fight. I am lazy, especially when it comes to my painting. And, I could thin my paints, but I don't. I could mix my paints, but I don't. I could open a G-Dub tub of paint and stick my brush straight in and paint from there. And that's what I do.
Try and close it, realize that everything is dried around the rim. It doesn't close anymore. I've spilt it and it's dried.
Correct.
Yeah. And
that's the way I like it.
I mean, it's not. Let's be clear about that.
I mean, it is. That is absolutely the way I like it.
I will say I do sort of miss the old school, like the flip top lids, the old ones, where you used to be able to get the ring of paint around and like pull it out.
Flip top heads?
Yes. You flip them open and there'd be like a ring of dried paint. You used to be able to pull it out. It was like it's the equivalent of PVA on
hexagonal.
Yeah.
Yes.
They were the best.
Look, yeah. I just enjoy I don't want to think too hard. I'm not artistic-y. I paint little times good stuff.
And speak good too.
Yeah, like that was my analogy, if that wasn't obviously clear. So if I'm painting, I just want to dip a paintbrush in, paint for an hour or two, close all the lids of the ones I've been working on, feel thoroughly dejected by my painting skills, and then go to bed.
Then mop up the wash that I've spilt across the desk.
I'm pretty good at that. I mean, and I mean, I've even 3D painted and then 3D printed and then painted little, holders for my Citadel things, so they can just sit in there and they won't spill. And I've gone to the effort of magnetizing this one. Look, it's very cute. It holds the thing. It's got a little thing where the lid goes in, so you hold it open and everything works perfectly. I use that maybe 5% of the time.
I was going to say, like, I feel like you have another accessory.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's not changing the issue if it sits there unused. I am mostly the opposite human in that I drop a bottles just for convenience, for mixability, for the not drying up, for the ability just to throw them on a palette and play with colors and push it around is an absolute win. The time that won't happen, like I find that I am a little bit lazy with contrast paints and those kind of things, and actually you can pull them straight. You can pull them straight out of that. And even if you're going relatively
the model into
thin,
contrast paint.
No, you can't do this. Stop it. I actually did that once where I dipped. I got one of those big cans of like the army paint and quick shade. I got paint on everywhere. The roof. There was absolutely paint on the roof. Because it said just hold it with some pliers and dunk it and then shake it off. And I did. I went proper Taylor Swift on this. I did it in the garage. But yeah, there was literally like a stripe of paint in the arc where my arm had gone. Yeah. Anyway, things we've learned. Next time you just attach it to a drill, so at least you get like a circular option. But yeah, contrast paint, even if you want to go pretty thin, you can out of the pot without too much effort, and then they can still go on a palette if you want. So it is swings and roundabouts there, but 99% of the time I will go droppers every day of the week. But the wet palette makes them easier to work with, and so if I'm putting them onto a palette, I don't want to be ruining a brush by loading that up with paint and then getting it up in the ferrule and then destroying that.
So end result, you say one, I say the other. There is absolutely a winner, and the right way of doing things.
Correct.
And I think if anyone listening goes to our webpage, so thoughtlesscasualgaming.com, you can see a gallery of models that Jace has painted and
should
models
probably
that I have
update that.
painted. We probably should, but I think it's fairly obvious who is the winner there.
I mean,
but I am still lazy, so I will still go my way.
I mean, I think it comes down to, are models being painted, and are you happy that models are painted and not painted, and that's a win. And then it comes down to what works for you. Yeah. I also don't like buying GW paint because I don't like paying for GW paint.
Yeah, fair enough too. I don't like paying for GW paint, but I'm all in now, and I can't stop.
This is my other problem is, I went all in with AK and scale 75 and contrast. So
all of the above.
I mean, can we go to tubes? Let's talk tubes. No, let's not do that.
No, let's not. All right. anything else you want to mention?
The only other thing I wanted to mention is that our community games night has moved. We had a whole episode on it, so we know that that's totally a thing that's happened.
Yes.
That has been kicking on for Tuesdays for the last month or so. And if last Tuesday was anything to go by, it is only gaining momentum, and it's very exciting.
It is so exciting. We are seeing so many different games and just incredible stuff being played. A couple of days ago on Tuesday, there was Shatterpoint, there was Marvel Crisis Protocol, there was Blood Bowl, there was Space Kits, there was Magic the Gathering, there was Underworlds, there was 40K,
there was
Age of Sigmar,
Trench Crusade.
There's other stuff I'm missing.
There was some board games. They were playing some Takado. There was so much stuff going. I don't think there was Necromunda, but we've played a bit of Necromunda. We've played some Malifaux. Like, there are just Mordheim. So many different games getting some played. There is so many people keen on sort of building communities and introducing people. So there's talk of, little 40K slow grows and stuff like that. There is a new Necromunda campaign that the guys want to run off that they're still doing intro games for and kind of introducing people to. So it's super beginner friendly. Somebody was talking about running some RPG sessions out there as well. So if people and looking for people to get involved in that.
I think there were a couple of different RPGs that were being talked about too.
There was at least 2 that I can think of, as well as all of the pickup games and everything else that's going on. So it's a good time to want to be playing some games, and it's a good, so if you are keen and you are around on a Tuesday night, we're there till 10:30, from about 5:30-ish. So there is some good time. There is, some really friendly people standing behind a bar pouring some beers at 1970s prices. The East Belmont Saints Baseball Club, basically Wampons, just off Pioneer Road, easy to get to. Plenty of options for dinner and stuff around if you need to get some chow, and a really good time with a lot of games getting played. Cannot recommend enough.
Yeah, and very easy too. If you're in our Discord already, that's great. If not, jump in our Discord and you'll be able to message in whatever game forum you want and organize a game, because somebody will pick it up. You want a game of X, there'll be at least a couple of people going, yeah, I'm in.
Let's play that. Let's do that this Tuesday. That'd be excellent. And funnily enough, to get to the Discord, there are multiple options. You can go to thoughtlesscasualgaming.com. You can go to geelonggamers.com, which is the Geelong Gaming Association webpage, which links everything back there. And that is 90% of how people are organising games.
Yeah.
So get in the Discord, tee something up.
There's a
get
link
involved
in the show notes.
Oh, yeah, I do that too.
You do indeed.
Look at me go.
Copy and paste. I think that's just about it, isn't it?
That's it.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you for listening. We hope you've enjoyed yourself and hope you've had a good time. If you have, why don't you just jump on whatever platform you're listening to us on and give us a good review. And if you haven't enjoyed yourself, maybe it's time just to have a good hard look at yourself.
Yeah, this was user error.
Yes. It's not our fault that you don't like us.
That's fair. Like this whole back to our early point of cleaning out cupboards and Marie Kondo. This, like, if it doesn't bring you joy, stop being so miserable.
Yes.
That's my message to you.
As always, you can check us out. We're on, all of the things, the Spotifys, the Twitches, the Facebooks, Instagrams, YouTubes, all of those things. And, as always, thank you very much to our Patreons who help us do an awful lot that, I should have been doing in the last month or two that I haven't been doing, but I will be doing.
If you don't say it, they'll never know.
Oh, okay. All right. Scrap that. We edit these podcasts, yeah?
Heavily.
Okay, good. But thank you, as always, to our thoughtless Patreons, Ant, Clinton, Cody, Gertzy, and Jared. Thank you guys. You guys rock. Until next time, laters.
Catcha.
Rich, it's plenty all around. It's professional, it's well considered, thought-provoking sounds. But standalone to beings, pioneers on their own path, determined to forge a different road, undaunted for it's been foretold. Desire and blasphemy, your ears there is carry on undaunted, our hero journey on. Cannot follow is unaware, perhaps it's just they're unaware. They come in, they're just talking shit, not making sense with the name that sells. Oh, it's straight, it will not bend. Maybe they will never end. It's never ending. Episodes blending.